Okay, let's make a start. So, my name is Drew, and I'm really excited to welcome you guys into this webinar called Health and Happiness Through Thai Massage at Home. It's something that I've been really looking forward to sharing with you guys, and I hope that you get a lot out of it. So, as we go through, I'm going to be talking to you about the history of Thai massage, a little bit of my own personal story, how Thai massage can really influence everything in your life, can change your relationships, can really influence your health positively. And I'm also going to be sharing with you at the end a special offer, a special deal, so make sure you stick around for that. I'll be answering any questions that you have as we go through. There's a section towards the end as well where I'll go through any questions that you guys ask. But as we go as well, please feel free to make note of any questions in the chat box as well, and we'll kind of collect them as the webinar goes on, and I'll answer them as we get to that question section. So one of the other things that I wanted to mention is that we're going to learn some self-massage tools as well. So even if you don't have a partner or a housemate or a friend or a family member nearby tonight, you'll be able to learn a couple of really cool stress relieving and tension relieving techniques that you can take with you. Okay, so we're going to get this show on the road, and first I wanted to start with a little bit of a story. So this story is just to share with you my own personal journey and my own personal path with Thai massage, and it's been quite a quick but incredibly transformational time, and that's part of why I'm really wanting to share this with you and wanting to get the word out and get the message out, and hopefully it can influence your lives in a similar way. So I started Thai massage really quite fortuitously. I never really planned on it. I never really looked into it all that much, but I heard about it and got a little bit interested just without any other information. And I ended up going and speaking to someone about it, and immediately I signed up for all of my trainings on the spot. And if I look back at that and I think, wow, that was quite a rash decision. I tend to be quite measured and logical, and I reason things quite a lot. But for some reason, it happened and it worked out, and I fell into it and I loved it straight away. And one of the big things that I found with learning and practicing Thai massage from the very beginning is that it makes a whole lot of sense. It's very it's very logical, and it's well reasoned in the techniques and the tools, and that part really attracted me and kept me coming back for more and more and more. So I kind of just dived in on a gut feeling, which is something that I'm thinking that you guys are getting the feeling for too, considering that you're joining us from all over the place, which is great. And ever since then, it's really started to spread throughout my life in a whole lot of different ways. I have noticed a range of different things and a range of different effects in my life, and part of that is what we're going to be talking about this evening, and how it can really influence you and your life and your relationships and your health. And I personally have noticed that my connections with new people, with new friends, are just so much deeper, and it happens so much quicker. You know, when you have a really good friend that you can spend as much time with or as little time with, but you guys are really close and really tight. And that's one of the things that Thai massage and on a bigger picture, compassionate touch as well, really does help to create. It helps to foster that deep connection and deep bond very rapidly. And so as a result of that, you build a little tribe very quickly. You build some really deep connections with people in a very fast way. And for me, at least personally, when I have a little tribe around me, when I have that community feeling, that sense of belonging to a group or a community, then that really influences my happiness and positively influences my health. When you feel like you have a support, a really solid support around you, that totally helps in so many different ways. It's also really affected the way that I use touch. I use social touch, and many people recently and in the last few years have noticed how I've changed and how much touch I incorporate in my communication. You know, many of us often talk with our hands like I'm doing now, but it's all well and good to talk with our hands visually, but we can also really communicate a whole lot of information with our hands via touch. And we'll delve into a little bit of that a bit more later, and some really cool information around that. But know that using touch more and more is a great way to influence those relationship forming activities, but also positively influences your health and enhances the meaning of that communication. You know, when someone's upset or you're trying to console someone and you use words, that's great, it's all well and good, but on a deeper level, if you can place a hand on them or you can give them a hug, you already probably know that that action alone speaks so much louder than words. And part of that is simply this essence of compassionate touch. So we'll be talking more and more about that. And if nothing else from this webinar, I really hope you guys start to incorporate more social touch, more compassionate touch, and it can change the way that you even execute a hug. You know, it will change things on a big scale. For me as well, it's also been a great mindfulness practice. Part of what Thai massaging includes is a whole lot of passive range of motion work if you're receiving. And as the practitioner, it also requires you to move around in different shapes and access certain range of motion in your own body to deliver a nice massage or a really good amount of stretch. And as well, it's also founded on principles of mindfulness and meditation. So it starts to hone your attention. It starts to hone your awareness internally so that you can then also focus that externally in a range of different ways. And it also then gives you greater access to a decision to make when you want to feel good. So we'll delve into that more and more as the webinar goes on through. But the next thing that I wanted to share with you guys is the main benefits of a Thai massage practice. So let me just pull up the slide here. So one of the things that you would probably recognize pretty much straight away is that it's any massage, and especially Thai massage, relieves tension, helps to relieve any physical tension that you have in your body. And that in and of itself is a really great tool. And part of how Thai massage does that is through massage, but also through a lot of the stretch work that's involved. So if you've never had one before, it really does include a vast array of different techniques to help alleviate tensions in the body. And as a result, you end up reducing your pain. Another one that I've mentioned as well in how it's changed my life and really influenced me is the connection that you have. And, you know, there's a whole lot of biochemical reactions that take place and builds really deep bonds with people. And we can talk about that later for sure. But it's also something that we can recognize if we think about going for a massage from another person, and if we then think about those automatic coin-operated massage chairs. You know, it's just not the same, and we can recognize that even just simply talking about it and thinking about it. One of the other benefits of Thai massage as well is this communication, and when you lay your hands on someone, not only can you emphasize whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, but you end up being so much more effective at it. There's only so many things that we can communicate through words. Words tend to fall short of the mark quite often, and we can really turn that around and really change that with a simple physical contact, 1 second, 2 seconds, whatever it becomes, and it can really change things around. The next thing that I wanted to mention as well is mobility. And if you've ever walked around with jeans on that are incredibly tight, and the ones that aren't stretchy, you know those ones that just give you absolutely no room to move, I always think of Thai massage as kind of like that. It takes off those jeans and lets you move again. You know that feeling when you take those ridiculously tight jeans off and all of a sudden you feel free again. You feel like you can move. And I really think that that's one of the things that Thai massage can help with, not only to restore your regular range of motion and regular movement, but in a lot of cases, it can help to bring back range of movement that you haven't had for a long time. The main thing is that you just keep using it after that. So let me just pull up this slide again and we'll continue. A part of as well what Thai massage and compassionate touch does is it actually boosts your immunity, and that's a really cool thing, and we can talk about that more as well as the evening goes on. But not only is the skin the primary physical barrier to maintaining our health, but we also have a whole lot of immune-based cells that are held in the skin, and that in and of itself, making physical contact with another person can help to boost that immunity, boost your immune response and immune system as a whole. And there have been some really cool studies, I won't go too much into it, but there have been some really cool studies done with that when we look at people who have compromised immunity for any particular reason. And they've noted some pretty significant results with that, actually. And as well, it's a practice of compassion. So primarily Thai massage is based on one particular thing, and that is what we call metta. And we can translate that as loving kindness or compassion. And that really is the basis for everything that we do. And it's kind of like a muscle. I like to think of our emotional state or our mental state as basically exactly the same as muscle tissue. The more you work it out, the easier it becomes to do that particular activity. And that's the same with compassion. That's the same with all of the emotions that you want to express most commonly. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of getting familiar with it, getting familiar with how it feels, and then also getting familiar with bringing it up whenever you need to. So that's a pretty significant thing, especially if we're looking at enhancing our relationships, both romantic relationships and platonic as well. It can really change the way that we communicate with that. And one other thing that I like to mention with that as well is compassion is never something you can get enough of. It's never, you never sort of say, oh, I'm good, I've got enough compassion, I'm sweet, you know. It's always something that we can continually develop and continually work on, which is really cool. So the more we practice it, the easier it becomes to represent that compassion as well. So a little bit of history of Thai massage. It's time to dive into the old stuff. So bear with me, we're going to learn some really cool Thai massage techniques soon. A quick little view into the past, though, of where did this come from and how did it evolve to something that can really transform your relationships and transform the way that you move throughout your everyday. So if you've ever heard of Thai massage before this webinar and you've researched it, you say you've Google searched it, you've typed in what is Thai massage into Google, the chances are that you have received the search results and they tell you that it's created by one person and that one person lived about 2,500 years ago. And the deeper you delve into the literature and the history of it, the more you are shown that that's not actually an accurate history. Even if we think about the area that Thailand incorporates now and how long the people of Thailand have been living there, it's been about 1,000 years. But a lot of the traditions do come from much older texts and much older traditions. It's just something that the Thai people have adopted and really made their own. They've kind of taken it, molded it, made it suit their purpose. And another really cool part of what Thai massage includes as a historical view is if you think of any kind of bodywork technique or massage technique at all that you've ever been exposed to, you've ever seen, Thai massage can actually encompass the full breadth of all techniques. For our purposes, though, we do kind of narrow it down quite a bit. And what we mostly practice and what we would instruct you through is fully clothed. Make sure you wear clothes that don't restrict your range of motion, and then on a padded mat on the floor. And you really do have quite a lot of malleability in that work anyway, rather than incorporating things like oils and herbs and herbal compresses and heat, or all those kinds of things. Another quick thing that I wanted to mention about history is the Sen lines. And history tells us that there are 72,000 Sen lines that are used in Thai massage. And so I wanted to take you through, and we're going to learn all 72,000 of them this evening. No, don't worry. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We're definitely not going to do that. That would be a little crazy, and you probably wouldn't enjoy it so much. So what we're actually going to do is far more important, I think, than learning all 72,000 energy lines, is the fact that we need to get our skill and our mindset right. I think that's way more important than taking a look at those specific lines, because really, anytime you make contact with someone, then if there are that many lines, you're going to be touching a whole bunch of energy lines or Sen lines all at once. So it's far more important to get the skill and the mental framework set. One of the other things that I wanted to mention as well is that historically, how Thai people use this kind of work is very family oriented, which is kind of cool, because that's what we're trying to come back to. That's what I want you guys to do, and you guys to take on as well. And if we look at how it was used, usually one person, at least one person within a family unit or an extended family unit, could do Thai massage or could practice Thai massage. And what they would do is not only use it as a tool to alleviate the family members' tension, stress, pain, but they'd also use it as a way to enhance family relationships and to really develop and work on their communication and work through things that they might be going through as a family. So granted, there are definitely cultural differences there. They, instead of watching TV for half an hour or an hour, then they filled that up with working with each other and massaging each other and developing that. So just a different cultural context, but something else to think about when it comes to Thai massage. I've already mentioned as well that this is really a practice of compassion and metta. And it's not only something that we express outwardly and for the people that we work with, but a big part of what Thai massage and how Thai massage is really unique is that we want it to be as good to give this work as it is to receive. That's kind of our main mantra when it comes to how do we want to execute this. And a big portion of that is how we're moving and how we're using our body, and also how we're paying attention to our body. And that kind of casts back to what I mentioned earlier about, for me, it's been a great process of self-awareness and a great practice of mindfulness, because you really have to get really in touch with where you are in space, where you're positioned and how you're using your body. So not only is this going to help your partners or your friends or your family members to give it to them, ideally, it should also, by giving this massage, you should also be helping yourself. You should also be working through your own tension, alleviating your own pain, simply by providing this massage to someone else. And that's a pretty cool and unique thing, I think. One little note on that as well is, when we learn the self-massage techniques, I really want to emphasize to you that idea of compassion towards yourself and taking care of yourself. And I think that so many of us kind of skip over that, and we think that sometimes we have to sacrifice ourselves for the well-being of others, and that's really not the case. We don't have to do that at all. And so when we learn these tools that I'm going to take you through really shortly, I want to emphasize that if it hurts or feels uncomfortable, stop, reverse out, release your pressure, come in again much slower, and find really the perfect spot, the perfect amount of pressure and all of that kind of stuff. We're looking for really awesome tension release. We're not looking for pain. the age-old saying of no pain, no gain, it really doesn't hold true. It's actually quite wrong when we look at massage and what happens in a massage when it hurts. So let's forget all about that. We want to make it feel really good. So when we learn these techniques, make sure, please, that it feels really, really good. Okay, let's go back to the slides here. So we are going to now actually learn these techniques, and this is kind of the part that you've all been waiting for. So if you've walked away from the computer, guys, come on back. We're going to learn some really cool stuff. Take a seat, and what we're going to do is we're going to learn a jaw massage, we're going to learn some neck work and some forearm work, all areas of tension that really we tend to develop quite a lot of discomfort and muscular activity and tension in our everyday. So make sure you come back and work with us on this. I want you guys to do it at home, please. And especially this is a really great opportunity as well to, if any questions come up, once they come up, note them down for us, send them to us in the chat, and I'll answer them in a little bit. So for this first one, we are going to look at the jaw. So I don't know how many of you at home have ever experienced this, probably a lot, but jaw tension, and sometimes that actually manifests in a range of different things. If you've ever woken up at night and you've been clenching or grinding your teeth, you might also notice that you get a lot of headaches, and all of that kind of stuff is very, very linked to the jaw. So at home right now, take your fingertips, find your cheekbones, and come to the very front of them, and then also feel back for the center of your ear. So if you think about that space, and don't worry, it's just me looking crazy. You guys, no one can see you. So do this at home, and then come halfway in between with your fingers, halfway in between those, and you want to be just below the bone, the cheekbone. When you find that, all you want to do is simply slowly rest in with your fingertips. Maybe give them a gentle and slow circle. Okay, one thing that you want to make sure of, and which I can't do because I'm talking a lot, is you want to make sure you let your jaw relax. So to really try to let your jaw get heavy and press in slowly, find the right amount of pressure, and give them a few little circles. Okay, generally we'll feel pretty tight there. So again, if it's too much, just release the pressure a little bit, come in slowly again, and find just the perfect amount of pressure. Another thing that we can do on the jaw, just one more little extra tool that I want to show you, is we want to come back just underneath your earlobe and on the back of the jaw. Now, caveat to this, it can be really intense really quickly. So super, super slow when you guys are doing this with me right now, okay? So come to the back of the jaw, and you want to actually be pushing forward. And because it's going to be super intense, please make sure you push gently to start with. And again, make sure that your jaw is super heavy, relaxed, at ease. And then you'll feel your jaw be pushed forward in space, and hopefully you'll also feel some extra release in the muscles of your jaw. Okay, so take that, feel free to use that whenever you need it. If you feel a headache coming on, if you wake up in the morning and you feel like you've been gripping the whole night, then do that. If you know that you've got a history of clenching your teeth, then make sure you do that before bed. You can do that every night, and over time, that should really help to reduce the amount that happens. The next one that we're going to work on is a neck massage. So the neck, of course, is another really common area of tension and really commonly implicated in headaches. So how can you feel healthier? You can start by just tipping your head forward in space. It doesn't have to be too far, just a little one. And what we're going to do is interlace our fingers with the tip forward of your head. Interlace your fingers behind your head, and your thumbs are going to settle in to a spot just underneath your skull, just underneath the base of the head. And it should feel like nice soft tissue. And then all you're going to do with your thumbs in place is really slowly draw your elbows towards one another in front of you. Now again, go slow until you find the perfect amount of pressure. But by drawing the elbows together, that should automatically bring the thumbs closer to one another. So you shouldn't have to feel as though you're pressing in with a lot of effort of the thumbs. It should really be quite easy to get the perfect amount of pressure. If you're not feeling enough pressure, maybe try tipping your head forward a little bit more, but chances are you guys are feeling plenty at home right now. Again, great one to do if you're feeling a headache, especially if it's a headache that's sitting low in the back of your neck. And if you ever wake up in the morning again and you've slept funny and your neck feels a little off, this can be a really great practice to do by yourself. You don't need anyone to do it with you or for you, and that's part of the really cool stuff of self-massage techniques. So the third one, so one more technique that I'm going to show you is a forearm massage. So another area where, and sometimes this tends to be a little bit hidden, so you may not have felt this before, and feel free to ask any questions about it as well if you're unsure. So one thing that you want to start with is folding your fingers over and drawing your fingers down towards your forearm. This little stretch might be enough. That might be plenty. And if it is, just stay there, okay? Because what you'll feel eventually is that stretch start to travel down your forearm and into what we call the forearm extensors. And if we type a lot during the day, which probably most of us do, chances are that area is pretty tight, okay? So go slow, go with what feels good. And if you would like more sensation, what we're going to do is we're going to keep this angle of the wrist. Again, don't worry guys, I'm the only one that looks funky doing this. And then we're going to tuck it underneath our arm, underneath our armpit, I should say. And that'll help you keep the angle of the wrist. So one of the things that we do then is we're just going to hold it. You're going to breathe nice and deep. And simply by adding that deep breath, again, that might add enough. If you want more, if you feel like you could use an extra little massage, so notice now we've got a stretch, we're going to add in massage on top of that. So fingertips, get your fingertips and just start to kind of gently strum back and forth across your forearm. And you should notice, you should find with that action that you end up kind of rolling across quite a taut band, a tight band of soft tissue. When you find that, settle into that with your fingertips. Gradually, mind you, because again, it's going to be a sensitive spot. Hold it for as long as feels good. Maybe again, then you find a different spot, okay? And settling in to that position. Hold it for another breath or two. Slowly release, and then really extra slow, start to roll out the wrist, okay? Once you've rolled that out the wrist, we're going to do it on the other side. So again, start with a stretch. If the stretch is good, stay there. Otherwise, tuck it underneath your armpit, find an area of the forearm, and settle in with your fingertips. Now, while we're doing this side, I did get a question come through, and one of the questions was, let me just read it here. Oh, we've got a cramp in the forearm. Okay. And I'm guessing that that was for the neck massage. If it was for the neck massage, try to let your shoulders get a little heavier, a little more relaxed. If it's for this one, what we want to do is just reverse out for a minute and stretch out your wrist in the opposite direction, if it's this one, okay? Let me know if that doesn't answer the question. Post another chat box thought and I can go into more detail. But if it's cramping, sometimes it just might be that the muscle is tired. It might have had a long day and you just need to give it a break and stretch it out for a minute and then come back and you might be able to do it again after that, after it's been stretched for long enough, okay? So once you've done this side, really slowly release the pressure with your fingertips. And again, really slowly roll out your wrist to get that movement happening again. So those three techniques are something that you can do by themselves anytime you need them. And also know as well, interestingly enough, that this forearm work is actually pretty commonly contributing to any tension headaches that you might experience, that you might get. So those three techniques, if you do commonly get headaches, will really, over time, help to hopefully get rid of them altogether. That would be really nice. So remember to ask any questions about those if anything is unclear. And again, make sure that it feels really good. All right. So let's go back to the slides for just a moment here. Let me pull them up. Okay, so that's all well and good for self-massage, and it's a really great option, a really great tool for us to have, especially if we feel that headache or we feel that tension or discomfort at a time when we don't have someone available to give us a massage, right? So those tools, please keep them and use them. They're a really great way to keep checking in and keep supporting your own health and wellness. Now we talk about some of the tools that we can use on other people. Now, we're not going to show you any of the partner work tonight, simply because you may not have anyone at hand and at the ready to join us. And whenever you do have someone at the ready and on hand, we've got some more information on that in just a minute. But things to consider and what you'll need, some kind of mat. And I mentioned earlier that we generally practice Thai massage on a padded mat on the floor. So a couple of things you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that it's not a bed. A bed tends to be too absorbent of that force, absorbent of that pressure. And so you want to make it firm but comfortable. So that could be any number of different things. You might have some yoga mats at home. You might just simply have some blankets or towels that you want to stack on top of one another. But try to avoid the bed, because that just ends up making it really hard work to give the massage. And then it doesn't feel as good to get the massage, okay? Props as well, again, with this idea of compassion, not only towards others, but towards ourselves, you want to make sure that you feel really well supported when you're giving a massage to someone, and that they also feel really well supported. So you can get super creative with pillows and blankets and towels. They're so versatile. You can make basically any different shape with them to create propping where you need it. Of course, you need a Thai massage partner, someone to work on, and that can be anyone. It could be a romantic partner, it could be a platonic partner. You know, if you have housemates, or if you're living with your family, or anything like that, please, you know, get them involved. The only thing that I would make sure is that there's someone geographically close, because, you know, on a Tuesday night, you may want a massage and you'll want to give them a call, and you want it to be a quick trip for them to come on over, okay? So then, of course, we need to practice our compassion. So a little bit more about why touch is good for you, and how human connection is developed through touch. And even we've known this for centuries, and some people more than others, I guess. Some people have known this for a long, long time. And Michelangelo was actually quoted as saying, "To touch is to give life." And I think that's a really profound statement, and perhaps even more profound than we might realize initially. And why is it more profound? Because we've actually observed studies, and they've been actually really quite unfortunate studies and quite horrible, but orphan studies done about 100 years ago or so really did highlight that we actually need physical touch by other people in order to survive and in order to live a fulfilled life and existence. So one of the other things that touch highlights, the great importance of human touch, is that as we're developing as a fetus, and this is a really cool thing as well, as we're developing as a fetus, the very first of our 5 senses to develop is tactile sensation. And that actually highlights, both in evolution and in biology, just how important touch is and tactile sense is. So it's actually placed on a higher level of importance than the other 4 senses, which is kind of a really cool thing. Another thing that touch is really huge for is communication, and I've already said it, and we have already put it in the context of communicating empathy and things like that when we're consoling others. But there have been some other studies done as well, where they look at the type and the amount of information that we can convey through touch. And really quickly, I'm not going to go too deep into it because it might bore you guys, but one thing that I find really cool is this one particular study was a double-blinded study. So someone would put their arm through a screen, another person would put their arm through a screen. One person was receiving a 1 second touch, the other person was conveying a 1 second touch. With that 1 second of contact, these people had never seen each other before, never met one another. With that 1 single second of contact, they were supposed to try and transfer one of 12 emotions that they were given. Now, you might expect that out of 12 emotions, the receiver who was guessing what emotion it was would, get a couple right, but probably most wrong. What they found really cool was that 55%, on average, 55% of the first response was accurate out of 12 different emotions. And I think that's pretty cool. They don't really know how that happened or the mechanism behind it, but that it really does highlight just the amount of communication that is transferred through touch. And that does two things for us. First and foremost, it reinforces the need for a compassionate mindset. So when you're massaging someone at home and you really don't want to, and you've got the huffs and you're frustrated with them, or you're really tired and that's all you can think about, know that without meaning to necessarily, that's being transferred. That's being conveyed through your touch to them. So with that knowledge, then we can build an entirely different environment. If we can step into a compassionate space, not only does that help them feel really good, it also, again, builds happiness for us, builds health for us as well. So think about that for a little bit. And another thing as well that human touch is responsible for, I guess, is the release of oxytocin. Now, you might have heard of oxytocin previously, you might not have. And it's a really important chemical in our body that is one of the few hormones that helps us feel joy, pure joy. And if we're thinking about health and happiness with Thai massage, just simply placing our hands on people creates that release of oxytocin. And again, the more often we do something like that, the easier it is for our body to recall what that feels like and to bring it up again and again and again if it needs to. So as well, it's also responsible, oxytocin is responsible for feelings of love and for bonding. So if you came to this with some hopes of finding some tools to help kind of kindle or rekindle your relationship, a little bit more spark, then this is exactly compassionate touch. This is the tool. This is what you need to use. This is it. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well is, we might now understand all of those benefits, and I've told you just a few of them. But how often do we touch one another? How often do we reach out to other people throughout our day, whether we know them or not, and make physical touch, physical contact with them? Chances are it's quite minimal. And one more little study that I want to mention is one that observed a social setting between two friends in 3 different countries: the US, the UK, and Puerto Rico. In the US, these two friends, existing friends, touched each other twice. And if you think about that, you might say, yeah, Drew, that sounds about right. When I meet my friend for tea or coffee or lunch, I'll give them a hug, hello, and then I'll hug them goodbye when we're done, And, it's better than nothing. Because then if we look at the UK, in the hour, they didn't touch each other at all, which is really sad, really unfortunate. So we need to change that around. Okay, UK, we need to turn that around. Then if we look at Puerto Rico, you guys will never guess this answer. They touched each other, these two friends touched each other about 180 times. 180 times within the space of an hour. And you might be laughing right now because I was absolutely in hysterics when I heard this. It's crazy. 180 times in an hour. That's 3 times per minute they were making contact with one another, which is kind of a little wild to think about. But at the same time, if we now think back of all of these benefits of compassionate touch, we can think about, whoa, these people, their health and their happiness must be just off the charts. It just must be wild and off the charts. So just to give you an idea of cultural difference there, and perhaps as well how much more we can incorporate through our everyday. I'm not saying that you have to make 180 contacts with a friend every hour, but you might want to think about adding a few more. You might set yourself a daily touch quota, a daily hug quota, and you might add one more every day. Start simple, start small, right? Okay, so oops, going back one. So then I also wanted to talk to you guys about stress, and chances are we've all experienced stress. I mean, it's something that's kind of unavoidable these days. A lot of people do work in ridiculously stressful job situations, and it depends on the study that you look at, it depends on the report that you look at, but upwards of half of the population, and this statistic in particular was drawn from the US, so in the States, about half of the population or more experiences stress regularly. And if you guys think about it, if I was to ask you when the last time you stressed was, chances are you'll probably tell me within the last couple of days. Like, it probably hasn't been that long. And if we take a moment to think about the health effects of stress, so we've talked about the health effects of touch, let's think about the health effects of stress now, the completely opposite side of the spectrum. Not only do people report experiencing stress, but they also quite commonly are aware of the symptoms of stress, or how that stress makes them feel. And a range of different things happen, and headaches and muscle tension were just one of the many side effects that were noted, and they were really high up there on the list. Interestingly as well, overeating and binging on the wrong foods was a noted side effect of stress. And if we think then really quickly about the whole idea of what we're talking about in health and happiness through Thai massage at home, that plays a pretty significant role. So if we're thinking about, we're overeating and binging on the wrong foods, Thai massage directly might not make you eat less or make you eat better, make better decisions. But what it can do is it can reduce that stress. And from a position of less stress, then you make other decisions, right? So it, again, is positively contributing to health. Another thing, nervousness and irritability, that's big on the list when you're stressed. So pay attention to that, and again, know that Thai massage or compassionate touch can really, really help out. As part of what we also talk about quite commonly is that stress in and of itself has been heavily implicated in so many different conditions, different diseases. And that's one thing that we haven't really got a full number on yet, is just how crucial to a lot of the development of disease stress is, because it impacts so many areas of our lives, and so many things contribute to our health that you can't really put a strict measure on it. But we already do know that stress plays a critical role in disease development. So how does compassionate touch and Thai massage help? How does that help in your everyday? How does it help improve your health? We've already mentioned the release of oxytocin, and that's a huge thing. Feeling joy and feeling happiness, right on. The other side of the coin is the hormone that we commonly relate to stress, and that is cortisol, and you may have heard of that as well. And cortisol has been implicated in a whole lot of different things in the body, and when it's released, a bunch of different things happen with your organs and what have you. But compassionate touch and massage has been shown to reduce levels of cortisol in your body. So you can think about that as basically a natural way to de-stress, right? Obviously, it releases muscle tension. So going back to that idea of what stress feels like, it can lead to a lot of headaches and muscle tension. So massage obviously helps with that. It decreases your irritability because you are in a space with someone and they're relaxed and they're trying to relax you, they're trying to nurture you, care for you, all of these really good things, really enriching things, then your irritability goes all the way down, which is really a nice thing. And you're, like I said as well, you're far less likely to make decisions from that place of stress as well when you are receiving compassionate touch on a regular basis. So here's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and let me just pull up the slide for it. So we've spent a lot of time talking about the benefits of massage, the benefits of compassionate touch, and how it can influence and create a positive health environment, and how it can influence your happiness as well. And so one of the things that I wanted to let you guys know about is the Thai Massage at Home online video course. And I'm so excited to let you guys know about it, because it's been a work of passion for a long time now, and I'm really excited to launch it with you. It involves an hour and a half of video instruction. At the end of that as well, there's a 30-minute full walkthrough, full guided practice of Thai massage. So this is something that you can use to get a full 30-minute Thai massage at home. Like, it's a really cool thing, and that means that you might be able to get massages more regularly, and that's only a great thing. You'd also get question and answer time with me personally. You get access to the Facebook group, where all of your peers are going to be working through the online course with you as well. You'll also have a 13-page downloadable PDF that you have access to. It's one of those things that, let's say you're going on holidays and you won't, or you're not sure if you'll have internet access, download the PDF, print it out, and take it with you. And that way you can practice everything with all of the details that you need once you've already gone through the online course. So that's something that's really cool as well. As you go through the online course, there are quizzes that really just support you and make sure that everything that's important is sinking in and making a whole lot of sense. And that'll highlight then if there are any questions that we need to address as time goes on. And the other most important part, is that once you get access to this course, it's lifetime access. It's evergreen. You guys will have it until the end of time, basically, or until the internet disappears, which probably is never going to happen. So once you check it out, you can keep returning to it over and over again. You can even skip at that point. You can skip to the videos that you can't quite remember properly, or you can just go right to that full 30-minute guided practice, and I can walk you through and be there with you as you do it together, which is really unique and an awesome opportunity as well. So quickly, I wanted to mention as well, what are the benefits of 30 minutes of Thai massage per week? So to reiterate, you reduce stress and anxiety, you build greater mobility, and you also reduce your pain through a range of different mechanisms. You improve your level of happiness. We talked about cortisol and oxytocin and how that contributes to joy, and you boost your immunity. I really briefly mentioned what happens with physical contact and touch, and how that can really change everything for you when it comes to how you feel. And not only that, you build stronger and faster connections with people around you, whether it's romantic relationships or platonic relationships. You develop more compassion. That's one practice, again, that I said you can't ever really get enough of, right? And so it's important to think about that as part of your overall health, your overall happiness, is what are we practicing? And I think that's a great way to develop both of those things. So really quickly, I wanted to come back and get your questions, guys. I'm seeing here actually now that we also need to get you to submit questions through Twitter, because some of you I'm noticing aren't able to access the chat. So apologies for that. One of the things that you can also do is tweet to us right now what your questions are at Navina Thai Yoga. please send that through. And I apologize for that technological glitch. But if you've already sent questions through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time now to answer them. And if you have any pressing questions that you haven't asked yet, please do send them through now, and we'll talk about them. So as they're coming through, oh, wait, I'm going to dive into one question that I just got. One of the questions here is, why would tension in the forearm cause headaches? And that is a really awesome question. I'm actually so glad you asked. The reason is because, let me just pull down this slide for just 1 second because I want to see you guys. So if we think about what our forearms do for us, and a lot of these fine movements that they control, we also need to think about just how connected the body is. So everything is connected to everything else. And it sounds a little esoteric, but it's actually quite a physical connection. So a lot of the connective tissue and the soft tissue in the forearm is directly connected to the soft tissue in the upper arm, which is directly connected to the soft tissue in the shoulder, and it goes right in up into the neck here. So there are some dissections that have been done on cadavers, a little bit gross, but that can be in one intact line, can show you just how connected all of these things are. So it's kind of like if you think of a chain, any kind of chain or a string, if you have the string taut, and if you press on one part of the string or the chain, that's not just impacting that portion of the chain, it impacts the whole length of the chain. And especially what you'll notice is the two ends where it attaches, the ends of the chain, are going to have a lot of force placed on it. And if you push too much on a string, let's say you've got them attached to the walls, eventually what will happen is the string won't break, or nothing will happen to the string itself, but the attachment will be pulled off, right? And similar kind of effect in the body. So tension in one area does get transferred up and to both ends of that chain. So that's kind of how tension can be really easily passed from one area of the body to the next. So thank you for asking that question, by the way. One thing that we commonly get asked as well is, especially if we need a partner to work on this kind of stuff, is what if my partner hates giving or getting a Thai massage or any kind of massage? What can I do? And there's many different ways that we could answer this, really. And the main point that I want to make is that we really want to try to understand where that aversion to touch is coming from. I think that it can come from many different places, and that will be important in determining how you approach that and how perhaps you communicate to someone that this is a really good thing. But the thing is, we need to go back and remember all of the things that I've talked about with touch and compassionate touch and Thai massage. And remember that we actually need compassionate touch or physical contact with one another in order to survive and thrive. So if you think about that, we also need to know that it's deeply fundamental to our biology, our health, and our well-being. So the other thing that I wanted to mention there as well is that to convince them or to talk them into it, just ask them to try out a couple of minutes. And it's one of those things that over time, they should hopefully get a little bit more comfortable with, okay? It's also important to let them know how it feels for you. If it's important to you and if it makes you feel good, then that's another thing that you can highlight, and hopefully that will be meaningful to them. So we are actually running out of time, and I apologize for that. Please remember that I am available for any questions at any time. I really want to quickly go through who this course is perfect for and also who it's not perfect for. It's something that, oh, sorry guys, I'm losing my spots here. Okay, so who is this good for and who is it not good for? If you've got any pre-existing significant health conditions like osteoporosis or extreme arthritis or significant hip issues, or you've already had training in massage, probably not the best fit. But for anyone who is a new couple and in your relationship, your new parents or in your family, you guys have a whole bunch of things going on. If you have a high stress job, if you would like to work on mobility and flexibility, or if you have mild pain, depression, anxiety, anything like that, this can really help contribute positively to those things. So, and sometimes turn them around. So one really quick, I wanted to mention the special offer that I noted at the start. For you guys, thank you so much for joining me, by the way. And as a gift and as a result of joining me, I wanted to offer this to you, this online course to you for an early bird special. So $99 US, that's $50 off the price, and it gets you a bonus question session and webinar with me. It gets you another PDF that's a quick kind of cheat sheet or flow sheet that you can refer to as you need to help you out really quickly. And then you also can get bonus access to the Facebook group for your partner, which will help you guys work through it together and see who's working with you and the struggles that they're going for. So I want to thank you guys so much. I hope that this has been a really valuable webinar for you guys. I hope that my passion for compassionate touch has shone through. I think that it's something that we can all benefit from and include more in our lives. And I hope you guys can see as well how it can positively influence health and happiness. It's something that, again, is a practice, but with the right tools, you can really get the ball rolling on a lot of those things. One more minute I've got before we have to part ways is just make sure that if you have any questions, please send them through to an email. I'll be emailing you guys right after this. And this early bird special that I mentioned, it's open until the 4th, the end of this week, the 4th of December. So think about it, take some time, sign up, or you can sign up, register below. There's a link right there. If you want to get involved and be there with us as we go through this course together, then register below. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys there. Okay, thanks again for joining me. I hope this has been awesome. I've had a lot of fun doing this, and please keep in touch. Okay, I'll see you soon.